In 2017, the Grizzlies decided to retire both Zach Randolph and Tony Allen's jersey. This brought upon backlash from opposing teams' fans since they didn't bring any hardware to Memphis, nor were they all NBA caliber. But Grizzlies fans knew that Z-Bo and Tony Allen had given them something they had never seen before in Memphis. These two, alongside Conley and Marc Gasol, better known as the Core Four, were the definition of blue-collar players, and gave them their first taste of playoff victories in Memphis. They turned a non-superstar team into a perennial playoff team with their heart, grit, and grind. What these four players did for the team might not show up on the stat sheet at times, but Grizzlies fans know that they poured their heart and soul out for the city. Tony Allen was the most ferocious perimeter defender in the league and was shutting down players like Kevin Durant. Even Durant himself admitted Tony Allen had gotten into his head during the 2014 playoffs. In 2015, their roster was good enough to contend, and Marc Gasol had discovered his full potential defensively and offensively, while Mike Conley was in his prime as a floor general. They were top 3 in defensive rating for the season, but ultimately fell short to what would become one of the greatest teams in NBA history, the Golden State Warriors. After that year, the Grizzlies faced the injury bug, and were never truly able to reach their full potential again. But little did Grizzlies fans know that in a couple years, they would be right back in the playoffs with a new face of the franchise. Hey guys, it's Hoops World. I just wanted to thank everyone who showed their support in the last couple of videos, as it means a whole lot to me and makes me want to create more content here on the channel. If you have yet to subscribe, please do hit that red subscribe button under the video as we make our way to the 200 subscriber mark. But in today's video, I'll be talking about how and why I think the Grizzlies will soon become a championship contender in the NBA. It all began in 2017 when the Grizzlies team began to fall apart. Z-Bo signed with the Kings, Tony Allen signed with the Pelicans, and for the next 2 years, Conley and Gasol dragged on for the Grizzlies, but by 2019, it was apparent it was time to move on. Instead of trying to hold on to the grit and grind Grizzlies, with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley as the pillars of the franchise, they decided to rebuild from the ground up. Starting with their first round pick from 2018, Jaren Jackson Jr. was the first piece of the rebuild and seems to fit the part. They also kept busy and successful in the past offseason, bringing in multiple young talents through trades. The most notable being the Mike Conley trade, in which they traded Conley to the Jazz for a package of picks, one being the 23rd pick in the 2019 draft, Jay Crowder, Kyle Korver, and Grayson Allen. They then flipped Korver and Javon Carter for DeAnthony Melton and Josh Jackson. This trade allowed the Grizzlies to add even more young talent in Melton and Jackson, as players like Korver don't fit in the larger scheme. But back to the 2018-2019 season, they weren't able to win a lot as they faced a collection of injuries and Gasol being traded mid-season. But where they did manage to win was the 2019 lottery, jumping to the 2nd pick after being projected the 8th and selecting the eventual Rookie of the Year, Ja Morant. They also managed to trade up from the 23rd pick to the 21st and pick up one of the biggest steals of the draft in Brandon Clark, who slipped all the way to the 20s after being projected as a lottery pick. With Ja, Jaren, and Clark leading the team, the Grizzlies have put together the backbone of the rebuild. With them at the helm, and a bunch of other solid players surrounding them, they have put together a solid season, currently sitting at the 8th seed with a record of 32-33, when Bleacher Report had them finishing with a record of 30-52. Safe to say, they have beat the odds and proved to be one of the better young teams in the NBA. Now that they have put together a season of winning basketball, many analysts are already looking to pair other stars with Morant. But for the Grizzlies, another star may have already landed in Memphis. Even with Chris Wallace not having the greatest draft selections historically speaking, selecting Hasheem Thabeet with the 2nd overall pick over Harden and Curry in 2009, for example, he definitely didn't miss in the 2018 draft, picking a young star player in Jaren Jackson Jr. With Mike Conley still on the Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson fit the team perfectly alongside Gasol in the front court. Unfortunately for them, Jackson faced an injury-riddled rookie season, but even in his limited games, JB Bickerstaff had established that Jaren was good enough to become the focal point of their offense and defense once they traded Gasol. After an unfortunate first season, Jaren Jackson Jr. has completely turned it around in his second with the newly revamped Grizzlies team. Alongside Ja's spectacular season, Jaren has had almost an equally impressive season in what many are considering his breakout season. He has developed into what has become a very overused word over the years, a unicorn, averaging 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game, while also averaging 39.7% from the three-point line. The versatile power forward doesn't just shoot the three ball either. He shoots it at one of the highest clips in the NBA. In fact, this past season, there were only 10 other players who shot a higher efficiency on at least 6.3 threes per game. These aren't your standard pick and pop threes either. He can shoot threes on the move, step back threes, threes off of a screen, and finally, threes, well, like whatever this is. And while his shot might be unorthodox, as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jaren has quietly become the Grizzlies' clear second offensive option, and on December 14, 2019, he tied the Grizzlies' franchise record of 9 threes in a game. The only other person he tied with was the one and only three-point specialist Mike Miller. Jackson put up a career-high 43 points that night while connecting on 9 of the 15 threes he shot that game. His high percentage from 3, paired with his versatility, allows the Grizzlies to put him in so many different spots on the court. This makes Memphis' offensive set so dangerous because Jackson can just shift from the primary scorer to the screener to even a playmaker depending on what the Grizzlies need. But don't let his offensive skill set fool you either. He's just as good on the defensive side as well. Jaren is very versatile and has incredible length, athleticism, footwork, and able to switch on to bigs and guards alike with ease. He also possesses natural defensive instincts as a help defender, which makes his defensive ability almost Garnett-like. But what separates him from being great defensively is his tendency to get baited into a foul. Foul troubles have caused concern for the big man over the past 2 years, but if he can learn to stay on his feet, I do believe he has the potential to make an all-defensive team. At length, the dynamic duo of Ja and Jaren will most likely become one of the deadliest in the NBA, and could prove to be better than the grit and grinds Conley and Gasol. But not only will the duo be better, their supporting cast will end up being much better as well, with names like Brandon Clark, Valanciunas, and DeAnthony Melton making up the supporting cast in Memphis. And it doesn't end there. By 2021, the Grizzlies will be rid of Gorgui Dieng's $17 million contract and will almost have $60 million in cap space.
Here's your check, SpongeBob.
This will allow them to go after big-ticket names that fit their agenda, players like Danny Green, Jrue Holiday, or maybe even Victor Oladipo. Adding another star and dependable role players will turn this team into one of the most formidable teams Memphis fans have ever seen. To mess this opportunity up, Chris Wallace would have to make a lot, and I mean a goddamn lot of mistakes to mess up this soon-to-be top-level team. With his talent on the Grizzlies, I almost have zero doubt that in the coming years the Grizzlies will become a team to beat in the West, and Grizzlies fans will rejoice as their hopes of making their first NBA Finals, or even their first championship, might come to light. If you have made it this far in the video, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my take on the new era Memphis Grizzlies, and I hope you enjoyed the video and can leave a like and subscribe as it would really mean a lot. I plan on continuing to make more NBA related content, and with your support, it would only make it easier. But with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one.